Sinners repent. We are here today to talk about zealots.
I thought we were here to talk about the Pet Shop Boys. I've got my playlist already. No? All right, maybe that's next week. Welcome. This is the Fright Club Podcast.
I'm Hope Madden.
And I'm George Wolf, and we're from madwolf.com. And yeah, we were looking into the horror movies that have to do with zealots, and there are some goodies we're going to talk about.
There are, and you can find tons and tons and tons of really great and also really bad horror movies about like satanic cults. But what's interesting, and we're not really going to cover those today because it's more interesting to me how, especially in the last few years, they've sprung up sort of a terror of organized religion.
Oh yeah,
cults and not cults, and so that's mostly what the countdown is about today. Although there are some great, actually even recent ones about Starry Eyes. If you haven't seen that one, that's out. You can get that on Netflix and stuff right now. And that's about that's an old school satanic cult movie, which is fun.
I didn't see that one. You saw that recently, right?
I did. I watched it while I was in Vermont.
Good?
Yeah, I liked it. It's fun. It's interesting. It's well made. It's not really a horror movie till the end, and then they really catch up. They're like, not enough bloodletting. Let's get on it. So that's fun. And some others that we love. Sheitan, we love that one. I mean, there's some, but aside from one on this list where you don't know for sure what exactly they're worshiping, could be the devil, I don't know, but aside from that, none of these are devil worship. They're all just different kinds of zealots, and some of them are fun, some of them are really hard to watch, but they're all great movies. And
last week we had a nice fun discussion that we got some good feedback on, as always, and we love your feedback in any way you want to do it. Through the Facebook page, we're at Mad Wolf Columbus, also on Twitter, we're at Mad Wolf, that's MADDWOLF, but
Knack Mac was the first one to get back to us with the one that he was going to watch that he hadn't seen before. So last week we talked about the six best horror movies we think you haven't seen. And he was about to watch The Woman, which is high up on our list.
Yeah,
and so we're looking forward to hearing what he had to say about that one. And then Claire Coughlin Lowe and Adam Lowe, the only one on our list they had not seen, they let us know on Facebook, was Calvaire, which was number one.
Yeah, that's the one that we thought most people, because I know we talk to people that are fans of these types of films. So maybe when we say you probably haven't seen this, we're not, maybe this audience has seen more of them than the average Joe Schmo on the street.
Right.
But that one is the one that I'm not surprised most people haven't seen, because most people haven't even heard of it.
Right. No. It's also, its English language title is The Ordeal.
Right.
It's a magnificent movie, and it has...
That can cause some confusion when you're searching for it. That is very true.
And it has the weirdest dance sequence in, I'm confident saying, in cinematic history. So check that out.
Yeah. So a lot of people said they hadn't seen that. So hopefully you will, and we will have done our duty.
That's right. You know what came up, though, what was interesting in the back and forth with Knack Mac was... he suggested we do a podcast on just the toughest to watch moments in horror movies.
Yeah, best scenes.
Yeah, not necessarily best scenes, toughest to watch scenes.
Yeah, most extreme.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
It is.
And that also brings in, that for me, right away off the top of my head, that brings to mind some films that maybe wouldn't qualify as horror movies, because one of the most extreme movies I've ever seen is called Enter the Void.
Yeah.
Gaspar Noé, who can get, extreme, but I wouldn't really call it a horror movie. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But if you like extreme, this one is extreme. It's called Enter the Void.
I think that's it. What another idea I think that I like, though, kind of on that along those lines, if you separate, would be just the spookiest moments, just the spookiest scenes. So not necessarily like close your eyes, I can't believe I'm watching it. Just the spookiest moments. A couple
good.
For us to kick
we
around.
Actually did that. One of the sites that we write for, Screen Relish, screenrelish.com. Check it out. We did a series with the other writers on that site about our favorite scary scenes. We did that. Was that for Halloween this past year?
I think it was, the entire month of October we did, yeah.
I went back, way back in the archives, for a great old Night Gallery episode that scared the crap out of me when I was a little kid. And I did one from Blair Witch, and you did one from, I forget what your scenes were.
Yeah, I think I did several. I did several different
But there were some
movies,
good ones from all the writers on there, and that was a lot of fun. That's an idea, too. Best spooky scenes, but most extreme scenes, most hard to watch scenes. Audition, maybe.
Yeah,
there's a lot. So
there's a lot.
Thank you. That's a good idea, and we may be going down that road.
So something to look forward to. We have some other exciting stuff coming up. So we haven't set a date, but Corey Metcalf, who's another podcaster, he does the triple cast for Golden Sparrow Media. He has succumbed to our request to do a podcast with us on the best Australian
strong arm tactics.
That's right, the best Australian horror, and we are super geeked about this one. Fritz the Night Owl. Fritz the Night Owl, he 5-time Emmy winner. And he's in the Horror Host Hall of Fame along with people like Elvira and Joe Bob Briggs. He's going to do one. We haven't set the date yet, but he's going to do one with us coming up pretty soon. Yeah, we are lucky
because he has the same home base as we do, yes. Columbus, Ohio. Yeah. And we know we have some mutual friends, and we've met him on occasion.
Yep.
So he has graciously agreed to sit in with us on an upcoming
so
We're
excited
very,
about that one.
very excited for that.
But closer to now, the end of this month, John Tice is going to do one with us. If you don't know who he is, he's just great. He's a great writer. He does some really funny videos you can find on YouTube where he plays Louise Mandrell, which are awesome. But we knew him originally because he used to write for the paper that we also wrote for, and he did a column every week called That's So Gay, which was really the highlight of the week.
One of the funniest things consistently I would read. Just hilarious.
It is hilarious.
So that'll be fun.
The end of this month, he's going to join us, and we're going to talk about gay-themed horror films.
Yeah.
So that should be cool. And if you think it's going to be an all-vampire episode, it isn't, actually.
You would think that, but there's more. So we're getting off the track.
That's
we got a lot of fun stuff coming, so hang with us, and definitely hang with us today because we've got our top 5. And wow, look at this. It's an actual top 5, not a top 6, top 5, fuzzy math type of a countdown. But our favorite 5 horror movies based with zealots and worshiping, not devil worship, because that's really the easy way to go.
Well, we'll do that eventually.
We'll do that eventually. We'll get to that. But we looked at these and found some really interesting ones, and we're going to start just a few years ago, 2011, with Kevin Smith's Red State.
I hate the wickedness of America. Rampant fornication, adultery, flagrant sexuality, everywhere. And it's up to the righteous to curb the spread of this disease. Gonna get grown up in here.
Send the sinner straight to hell. Send the sinner straight to hell.
God doesn't love you. Let's fear him.
Yeah, this one of the first things I remember about this is when you were interviewing Kevin Smith in the car. We were in the parking lot. We ended up stopping in the parking lot of Subway because is that when he called? You just didn't know when he was going to call.
Yeah, he was very late in the call. I'm sure several of his other interviews probably ran long, and so when he finally did call me, we were headed to lunch, so we stopped.
Yeah, we sat there, and I got to listen to it on the speaker, and that guy can cuss. I'll tell you what. But no, it's a lot of fun to talk to him, and Red State was his first because this was. Before the Walrus one that just came out. This one, and if you find some old trailers on YouTube, he just sets it up. He's like, no, this isn't Clerks. This isn't, this is a full-on horror movie, and it is. Yeah,
and actually, I got to say, this is, for my money, the best film Kevin Smith has ever made. It's his best writing. It's certainly the strongest cast he's ever put together.
Good cast.
And it's not, I would not call it strictly horror. It's horror for about 2/3 of the film, and then it kind of turns into an action movie, which is fine, actually. It's very enjoyable from beginning to end. But I think it's the strongest, easily, in every area film that he's ever made. When he went to Tusk, which I enjoyed, but it's very flawed, it's more like a Kevin Smith movie. Tusk is. Red State is not. You would not say to yourself, which I know when I talked to him about at the time, he said that was his goal. He said, I can make Kevin Smith movies with my eyes closed. I want to see if I can make something else.
And he has.
Yes.
What was that Bruce Willis comedy with Tracy Morgan, that cop show?
Cop.
Whatever.
Something cop. Cop something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
No.
But, this one, you talk about the great cast, and anytime you have Michael Parks, we've talked about Michael Parks before.
If you don't know who Michael Parks is, you need to get to know him.
Esteban.
Exactly. Esteban from Kill Bill Volume 2. But he also, he plays Earl McGraw, right? Texas Ranger Earl McGraw in like 5 or 6 different Tarantino movies. Mm-hmm. And then he's also in the American version of We Are, We Are. He's great in that.
Yeah.
He's also in Tusk, actually. Yeah. He's in Tusk, and he's great in that.
The guy who wants to build a walrus.
But I'm going to say that he plays the pastor in this one. I think it's Abel Cooper. And it's the best performance of his I've ever seen. It alone erases any flaw there is with this movie. He is magnificent in this movie. And basically what said, he and Melissa Leo, Oscar winner Melissa Leo.
Yeah, what a cast.
I know. And they lure homosexuals and fornicators to via the internet. So they use the internet to try to lure people that they consider to be sinners. Yeah. And then they sacrifice them. Yep. And then, the feds, and that includes John Goodman, Kevin Pollak. Stephen Root is in this movie. It's really, the cast is spectacular. Yeah. And I don't think anybody saw it. I really think that this really flew under the radar. It didn't get the kind of buzz that Tusk got, even though it's a much better film than Tusk. So check it out. I loved this.
Yeah, it really has. First of all, as we said a couple times here, the cast is the first thing that grabs you.
Yeah.
Because it's not his usual, there's no Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in this, but these are solid and solid performances, and it keeps in line, in keeping with this theme of zealots, because he's this extreme pastor who says that it's up to their church, their flock, to exterminate these fornicators and hellraisers and whatever. And I think you're very correct that just flew under everybody's radar, even though he did a decent amount of press for it.
He did, and he toured with it, right? And he toured the States with it. He took it from theater to theater himself, showed up, right. and then it was released, for home entertainment after that. So, but I think that most people just missed it somehow, which is too bad, because it's really very good.
Yeah,
and like I said, it's not like I'm not a Kevin Smith fan. I am to a certain degree. But to me, this is without question the best movie he ever made.
Well, a lot of times with him, it's so refreshing. He knows. He knows what he is. He knows what he does. Mm-hmm. And that's a very telling quote. I can make Kevin Smith movies with my eyes closed. Mm-hmm. But here he was going for something different. And certainly in Tusk, he was doing the same thing. So yeah, I definitely want to check out, if you haven't, Red State from 2011. That's number 5. But we're going to go way back, many years before that, with one that hopefully you didn't see the remake of this, because if you want to see this movie, you want to see the original, and it's from 1973, The Wicker Man.
I am here to investigate the disappearance of a young girl. I suspect murder.
Sergeant, I've already told...
In the name of God, woman, what kind of mother are you that can stand by and see your own child slaughtered?
Where is Rowan Morrison?
If Rowan Morrison existed, we would know. You are the fool, Mr. Howard.
Where is Rowan Morrison?
Oh, my God!
Yeah, Neil LaBute, who started off strong, the director, started off strong in his career and then really took a tumble. He remade this. And I was actually at the time kind of excited, because I was a Neil LaBute fan. Nicolas Cage, who hadn't completely turned into the current cartoon version of himself, starred. And I thought, maybe, but no.
So let's just keep with the original, where Edward Woodward, if you remember... he got his most fame, at least on this side of the pond, from The Equalizer.
Right,
that
that's who
TV series where he was the original Equalizer, which has now been made into a movie with Denzel Washington taking his part.
It's an unusual change.
It is. Well, they kept the same character name and everything, and that's a movie I actually enjoyed, The Equalizer. Anyway, he stars as this constable, very, buttoned up, very religious, very do things by the book. And that's how we speak, and everybody, does things the right way, or they're immoral. And he's been called to this island to investigate a missing girl.
Right.
And he runs into
Rowan Morrison.
Oh my
God.
And he, at every turn, he runs into the inhabitants of this island, who are just pagans.
Yeah.
There are animal masks everywhere, which are creepy. Animal masks are always creepy.
They are,
aren't they?
And I think they started here. I mean, it's become very popular, but I'm pretty sure it started here. Robin Hardy came up with that concept for this. And he's isolated on this island once he's there, and it takes him a really long time to understand that he's the captive. You know what I mean? That he's by no means is he in charge here.
Yeah.
And then the leader of Summers Isle, the leader of the religion, just a glorious Christopher Lee.
Oh, with the hair and the turtlenecks.
Oh my God.
And that's the other thing about this movie. You know how I love the 70s. This movie is so 70s.
It really is.
It screams it. It's in such a great way. And this is one that I think people sometimes argue about whether it is a horror movie, because it's not a slash. There's not a lot of blood. It builds it slowly.
It does.
Until you realize, if you came into this movie knowing absolutely nothing, then you would think it's just a straight missing person. He's looking for this girl. He's going to find this girl. It's
almost like just a subversive comedy, really, because they're having fun at the constable's expense.
Yes, they are.
But it's and the thing I think that sets you off kilter is, you feel like you should be siding with the constable, but you don't, because he's so unlikable.
Yeah.
He's so unlikable. He's so judgmental. He's so unpleasant but then you're like, well, who am I siding with exactly? These heathens? Like, I don't.
Well, and in what we're talking about here, this movie is funny because really it has a contrast of two types of zealots.
Yeah.
He comes in with his beliefs, very strong beliefs, and he gets into the middle of a world that has totally different beliefs.
Oh yeah, and actually, and in the scenes where it's just he and Christopher Lee talking to each other, Christopher Lee delivers the most heretical, just lines with that just dreamy baritone that he has. He's so funny, and at one point, Edward Woodward was like, "Well, what about the one true Lord, Jesus Christ?" And then Christopher Lee says, "Well, he had his chance, and in the parlance of the day, he blew it." You're like, "Oh, did he just say that?" It's just, and what it really, I think, because it came out in 1973, I think it was just an image of the two warring factions of straights and hippies. That's kind of what it really was. It just took it to a new level. But it's so well written. It's so darkly funny. And then when it gets creepy, it means it.
It does, yeah. And you slowly, again, if you came into this movie knowing nothing, you would slowly start getting the picture that he does, that he's there for a reason.
Right.
And they are having fun with him, and they're playing with him, and they have very specific goal as to what his fate is going to be. And we're not going to spoil it in case you haven't seen it, but he slowly gets the picture.
Yeah.
And it's then it gets pretty creepy and pretty terrifying at the end.
It does.
Because it takes so long to get there. So, but yeah, please don't waste time with the remake. Although what's funny about the remake is early on in the remake, they have a picture in the police headquarters before Nicolas Cage, who's basically playing the same character, before he heads off to the island to look for a missing girl. He's walking through the police headquarters, and there's a picture of Edward Woodward's character. It says missing.
Right.
So all this stuff. So a little homage to that, but it's not even close to the same quality.
No.
They change a few things. Ellen Burstyn is the head of the island instead of Christopher Lee.
Neil Butte has some
women's issues.
Yes,
he does.
And that's really what this movie is about. It's about Neil Butte's women's issues. It's not really about the original sort of clash of temperaments or anything.
Yeah. Boy, he went after that. Remember the last one he did was that Some Velvet Morning.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? That's an interesting movie. Not a horror movie.
That was him.
Yeah, that was him. That was just a 2-person movie with that awful Stanley Tucci. I can't even say Stanley Tucci without saying that awful Stanley Tucci because of Meryl Streep's acceptance speech that time. No, love Stanley Tucci.
Oh, it's always
and then
great.
That Alice Eve, just a 2-person. It was like a play on screen. It has quite the twist ending, which really falls in line with his women's issues. Interesting. So if you, it's not a horror movie, but if you're up for that sort of thing, check it out. Some Velvet Morning, it's called. Anyway. From 1973, The Wicker Man, the original only, please. That is that is number 4 in our top 5 list, and number 3.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit last week. Love it, love it, love it, and I know so does our friend Bridget Oliver. This is Kill List.
Yeah, Kill List from 2011, and that one is the one. Was it last week or the week before? Where every time I think of that movie, I just think of thank you, because. That's when you, I think, that's early on in the movie, and then when you realize, something's weird here.
Yeah. So what you got a couple of hitmen, and their most recent job didn't go very well, and so they've decided to take on this other project that they didn't really want. They just get a list of 3 names, and they have to just go kill these 3 people. And things and it's funny because it opens as, it opens like a British gritty crime drama.
Yes.
Indie movie, good, and then as you get into it, it gets weirder and weirder, and it changes completely, changes tone, changes the look.
Yeah.
It's really masterfully created.
Yeah. Speaking of hidden agendas, and you realize what is going on here, they're into something they did not realize at all.
No.
And it's not a gritty crime hitman drama at all. It goes somewhere totally different. And
the main guy, Neil Maskell is his name, and actually the woman who plays his wife, the actress is Marianna Bunting, and they're great, just very volcanic, and they have this really great chemistry. But the two of them actually right now are in another movie called Hyena, which is not a horror film, but it's very, very interesting, compelling. The same star and writer-director made a horror film last year called Tony, like a weird serial killer movie. And so this is a gritty crime drama, but it's interesting to me how many horror actors are in it. And actually you could, I have a review up for that on Screen Relish right now if you want to hop over, but I recommend that one as well. Although I have to say I like this one better. It's just one of those where you're like, it's a what the hell movie, like, wait, what the hell just happened? What's going on right now? But that up to now, you probably wonder, if you haven't seen it, you're wondering, well, what does that have to do with zealots? Yeah. We're not going to tell you.
No, we're not, except to say that that's where the twist comes in.
Yeah.
That's when they realize they're being used for a purpose that is, zealots are behind that purpose. Is that fair to say?
I think so.
Okay. And then it ends with, it has quite an ending.
It really does. And the thing is, especially once it takes a turn and you know that it's a horror film, like once it makes that turn, a lot of really interesting homages that he throws in there, Ben Wheatley, who's the director, that we're not going to mention because it gives too much away, but I just love them. It's just one more layer to the film that makes you love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one that is another one where people that have seen it are very quick to encourage others to see it.
Yeah.
Because if you have heard of it or maybe had the idea from a trailer maybe that it is just a gritty crime drama no, it's not.
No.
It turns into something different, and keep having to stop ourselves. We don't want to give too much away because that's no fun. That's one of our pet peeves, by the way, as film critics. We hate when reviewers and critics give too much away of a movie. So we're going to take every step not to do that. So it's definitely worth your time, though, as a horror movie, as a zealot-based type of horror movie. And that's why it's so high on our list. Number 3 kill list from 2011. Number 2 is one that we've talked about a lot, and with good reason. And boy, you talk about zealots. From 2008, it's Martyrs.
Les martyrs sont très rares.
This is a French language film, so we just play the music, really. You don't have the trailer because nobody would understand. Well, most of us wouldn't understand what they're saying.
And we've said it once, we'll say it again. The French can bring it.
Oh, you ain't lying.
As far as...
That's the thing. I mean, this is a really, really brilliant film that is so hard to watch. Whew. So hard to watch.
Well, we were talking about that maybe possible future podcast about scenes that are hard to watch. There's some in here.
Yeah, like 9. There's like 9 scenes in here that could be on that list. Because, it starts off in an orphanage. It seems like a ghost story because one of the children in the orphanage she survived some, invisible hand torture. You don't know why, you don't know what. And so you get the feeling that basically you're just going to be following this little girl and the damage that's been done to her. And she thinks she sees this ghost.
No.
And then she develops a best friend who's also in the orphanage, And then the next thing you know, they're adults and they're on this quest to find the people who had tortured her. And you get the feeling that the friend is really just kind of humoring her. And you don't know. I mean, Anna is the friend. She clearly loves the more damaged of the two. And is it like a romantic love? Lucy. Is it a romantic love? Is it just a friendly love? What kind of a thing? And I think one of the reasons that this movie is so compelling is that it really mines that profound loneliness of like abandoned, damaged children. The whole movie just breaks your heart. And so you're already in a vulnerable state when they start throwing the most horrifying imagery at you.
It's bad. And you realize it's being done to them for a very specific purpose, which gets it on this list of zealots.
Oh, yeah.
And then that woman with the hat, or what is that one?
Mademoiselle? Oh, no. I know who you mean. Yeah. Not exactly a hat. Not
you know what I mean.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. And, you just... this is one where we can't say too much, especially about the ending, which I think... In a couple of podcasts ago, didn't I start to say something about this ending and you stopped me and you screamed at me?
Yeah, because it's really important.
It's really, really important. It is very important.
It's so provocative. It's so perfect. The ending is so perfect.
It's one of those that some people may not like because it's too open-ended.
And also, it probably didn't go the way you were hoping it might eventually go.
Right, but it really works if you stop and appreciate it. Because some people like tidy, and you're not going to get that, but if you just stop and think about it, it really is the best way to end it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of provocative. Yeah, I could say you could say that. But when you realize what the purpose, the mission was, I guess, in their suffering, hence
so
the
good.
title, Martyrs. You might be able to infer something there. But from 2008, and that one is one that shows up on a lot of our lists for good reason.
You're right.
Because it's extreme. It's very extreme. It's brutal, but it's also smartly done. The French, as we've said many times, can really make it.
Stick it to you.
They can, but not only brutal, but as you said, smart. It's smartly written.
It is.
But they don't hide from the uncomfortable.
Do not
at all.
They pull no punches.
They don't. Martyrs from 2008 is number 2, and this is one at number 1. One that we've, I think, alluded to a few times in the podcast, how much we like it, but never really talked about it. So this should be fun. And this is from 2001. It's called Frailty.
They were raised to obey their father.
Go do some homework.
To love him. To trust him.
Night, boys. Sleep tight.
Don't let those bed bugs bite.
Until...
Wake up. I've got something to tell you.
What's wrong?
There are demons among us. I can see the demons, while other people can't.
I'm scared, Dad.
God will be sending a list of the first 7 demons.
These are people's names.
And they'll look like people. But they're not.
You're crazy!
Only demons should fear me. You're not a demon, are you?
Bill Paxton. We're toast. Bill Paxton not only stars in this, that's right, game over. Not only stars in this, but directed it.
Yeah.
So before
First
this
feature he directed.
That's right. He had directed the Fish Heads video. You remember that one? Roly-poly fish heads. Eat
Isn't
them
that
up.
crazy
Yum.
that he directed that?
It is crazy.
Oh, my God.
And he's done some stuff since then, sports movies, some shorts, TV, but this is easily the best thing that he's ever done. And it's I think, quite a directorial feat because it subverts expectations and it just develops this great tone.
And he stars as well.
Yes, he does, yeah.
And he's very good.
He is.
And he's the zealot that we're talking about here because it starts out in the relationship. He's a dad, and he has a nice, regular
kind of a farm dad,
farm dad.
A widowed, you gather.
Has a relationship with his kids.
2 boys.
And then suddenly he explains to them how he's been touched by God and he's been kind of given his own kill list of people that are demons and that he has to kill. And then as you heard in the trailer, the oldest boy says, well, these are just people. Yeah. And so then you realize he is telling his sons that they have to do the Lord's work and just straight out kill these people.
Right. And one of the things that is great about it is you have sort of preconceived notions and you think that you're watching a movie and it's not the one you're watching.
That's true.
And so simultaneously, so this is all happening in the 70s. We know because there's a lot of Dukes of Hazzard references, which is awesome. But it's being told to a cop who is looking for the God's Hand killer by one of the sons as an adult, played by Matthew McConaughey, who's got that great Southern drawl, a very low, slow delivery, and it just sets a spooky tone from beginning to end.
And the cop is Powers Booth.
Who sucks in this? I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, not that he's great usually, but he's pretty wooden in this one.
He's a very well-known, years veteran character actor.
Helter Skelter, right?
Helter Skelter. No, you're thinking of he played Jim Jones in the movie about Guyana, the Guyana tragedy. Okay,
gotcha.
But he's a lot of credits down through the years. But he's the cop, and Matthew McConaughey, as you say in that classic drawl, you just expect him to say, "All right." But
he's just slowly sort of unveiling the full, long story of his childhood.
Which, I just thought of, in a way, it kind of makes you think of True Detective.
Oh, I can see that.
In the way that it goes back, back in time and shows you what happened then and then catches up with him now. So I just kind of make that connection since McConaughey's in it. But as you said, you're not watching the movie that you think you are.
No. And I think that's one of the things that I like the best about this is that you think you know where it's going and you really don't. And also that Bill Paxton's performance is... The whole movie is just not. It's not cynical. It's not ironic. It's not
judgmental.
No, it's very earnest, and his performance is very earnest. And he saw a light from God, and an angel spoke to him, or as the son says, maybe the light
it's in your head.
The light from the hallway shone off the trophy with an angel on the bookcase in his, it throws both ideas at you all the time. You're never entirely sure which way is going. But then these 2 little boys, the main boy who is so great, he can make me did this ditch, but he can't make me believe in God. It's like just the perfect sort of, I'm struggling. I'm an adolescent boy. I'm struggling against my dad's, power and control. And then there's a younger brother who's just still big-eyed and wants to do what the dad wants him to do.
Sure.
And it's a very layered, moving film.
Very confidently directed, which makes you wonder why maybe he hasn't, gone more toward directing, because you hear so many veteran actors say they want to direct, and then they get a chance and really show some skill with it, as this does. It's layered, it's paced well.
It is.
Until it finally gets you that, when things are tied up at the end, you're like, oh, you got me.
Right, because it is tidy. It's tidy, and it works well.
But it'll catch you. It'll probably catch you by surprise. You won't. I don't think we'll see where it's going, really, until it gets there. But definitely worth checking out. It seems to me that it flew on another one that kind of flew under the radar a little bit.
I think so, too. I don't think it made any money at all when it came out, but I think it's developed a healthy following in the last 20 years.
It's not one that I recall really seeing
15 years.
Pop up on, when you're flipping channels. I don't really ever see it popping up anywhere.
No.
So that's a shame, too. So that is number one on our list of the Zealots. And, he definitely turns into one, the Bill Paxton character. Frailty from 2001. So check them out. And as always, we want to hear what we missed. We want to hear what you think of these, if you saw them, if you're going to see them, or ones that we should see that we didn't from Zealots. And not, as we said, not devil worshiping. We'll get to that.
We will. Rest assured.
Oh, we will. So let us know for sure. On Twitter, we're at Mad Wolf. That's MADDWOLF. And check us out on the Golden Spiral Media website as well.
Yeah, when you go to when you listen to the podcast, if you scroll down, you can leave us a comment there. We'll get that. You can also leave a voice message for us. We'll get that. So just keep in touch. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you like these. Let us know if we missed anything. And let us know if you have a suggestion for hardest scene to watch, because we'll be collecting that coming up.
That's one we're probably going to want your feedback before we actually do the podcast. Right. A lot of times we'll do the podcast and then say, what do you think? But I think we're going to start soliciting for your most extreme, hard-to-watch scene so we can really get a good handle on that. So please, that's a good idea. Let us know if you want to shoot us a message for that, and we'll start putting that together. So a lot of fun stuff coming down the line. Special guests and good shows, and getting your feedback and getting your suggestions. We love that, so keep it coming. And until next week,
I'm Hope Madden.
And I am George Wolf, and this is the Fright Club Podcast.
Stay frightful, my friends.